Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For subject occupational safety and health, we from group 6 we present our project. The given title is Concreting and Finishing Safety Measures for New Proposed Development of 50 Units of a 2-story lecture room building in UTHM. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad HASSAN bin MARTUA, metric number DF170057. For introduction, safety in every job at construction site is very important aspects to be emphasized by everyone. As Grade A G7 construction company, we recently award a new proposed development of 50 units of a 2-story lecture room building project by University Tun Hussein On, Malaysia. In this case, preliminary risk assessment report must be provided to ensure the safety and health of workers and campus residents. The specific works to be evaluated are concreting work and finishing. For the problem statements, one of the hazard example is ergonomic hazard, then false occurrence, and lastly, cement dermatitis because of concreting works. Next, the objective. Number 1, to identify the hazards in concreting and finishing work at site. Then, to implement the risk assessment of hazard on site. The third one is to implement risk analysis of hazard on site, and lastly to propose the suitable risk control for better safety and health. This is the flowchart for concreting work. First, instruct the general worker to commence on site work, then supervise and monitor work at site and site progress, inspection of concrete size using reinforcement bars for specific structure according to approved construction drawing, followed by checking of proper tying and connection of reinforcement bar, concreting cover as per drawing, checking the formwork details, scaffolding and safety nets need to be construct, cleaning debris inside working area for concreting work, then to ensure the concrete mixture as per specification, followed by method statement of concreting work approved by consultant, then to calculate the total volume of required area to be concreting before making delivery order, followed by order ready mix of concrete, wearing personal protective equipment, then the cement must pass slump test for 50 to 90 mm medium workability, then prepare set of concrete cube for cube test, followed by pouring of concrete on site using mobile crane, using vibrator to spread concrete evenly and avoid honeycomb, then screeding surface of concrete to achieve smooth finish level, followed by assign a flatman for the operator of mobile crane to have better vision, then inspection of concreting work to avoid mess of concrete at nearby road and cause hazard, scooping and cleaning need to be done. In case of bad weather, plastic tarpaulin are required to cover the wet concrete, opening of formwork which are 2 days for walls, column and beam 3 days and above for slab. Curing of concrete when it reach mature date. Followed by the flowchart of finishing work. First of all, after the superstructure construction is done, check for defection, then start the finishing work for floor, wall and ceiling, finishing specification as per drawing and approved contract. Personal protective equipment must be worn, then wear safety glasses when deal with ceiling finishing works to avoid flying debris entering the eye. Scaffolding and safety nets are constructed for ceiling finishing work and especially external wall finishing works. Lastly, all the works need to be inspected at the end to avoid defection. All these tasks have the person in charge to avoid any accident happen.
The literature review of our project are: we can say that the construction industry is highly regarded as a labor-intensive hazardous occupation. Compared to other industries, the construction industry has achieved the highest numbers of occupational fatal and non-fatal injuries. Researchers and practitioners have to focus in identifying safety hazards and suggesting a proactive injury prevention measures. Finally, safety perturbations is defined as individual volunteer behavior that aims to promote safety and health in the work environment, such as helping co-workers with safety-related issues, contribution to set a safety plan, and other activities to improve workplace safety. So, the methodology of our project, we can start, classify activity work, product service activities, then identify hazard, determine risk, also decide risk is tolerable, and risk control action plan, to review adequacy of the risk control, and finally legal requirement. Risk estimation and evaluation guide. Difference between a qualitative risk analysis and quantitative risk analysis. There is four difference between two of these analyses, which is we can start with the qualitative, which is risk level, while quantitative project level. In addition, subjective evaluation of probability and impact in qualitative analysis, while the quantitative analysis probabilistic estimate of time and cost. For the qualitative, quick and easy to perform, rather a quantitative analysis will be time consuming. And finally, no special software for tool required for the qualitative analysis, while the quantitative analysis may require specialized tool. The risk assessment are very important as they form an integral part of occupational health and safety management plan. They help to create awareness of hazards and risk, identify who may be at risk, example, employees, cleaners, visitors, contractors, the public. Determine whether a control program is required for a partial hazard. Determine if existing control measures are adequate or if more should be done. Prevent injuries or illnesses, especially when done at the design or planning stage. Priorities, hazard and control measures. And finally, meet legal requirements where applicable.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad ZARIQ bin FUZAIMI and I will talk about hierarchy table for concrete work. The work of activity is concrete work on the top of the building and the hazard is falling human or object from height level. The effect from the hazard is major body injury or fatal. The existing risk control is full PPA compliance and toolbox training. For the risk analysis, likelihood is 5, severity 4 and risk 20. The recommended control measure is wear safety harness inspected by the professional. Next, lifting concrete with crane and the hazard is hit by concrete bucket, exposed to moving and dangerous part of machinery and exposed to moving concrete load at height. The effect from the hazard is may be caught in between machinery and sustain serious injury or may be crushed and sustain serious injury or even fatal. The existing risk control is full PPE compliance and toolbox training. For the risk analysis, likelihood is 5, severity 4 and risk 20. The recommended control measure is make sure crane having valid PMA and driver computer license valid and inspection according to the set schedule and check before using the machine. After that, working during concrete and the hazard is working on deck during pour. The effect from the hazard is fall on wet concrete or reinforcement that can be injured. The existing risk control is full PPE compliance and toolbox training. For the risk analysis, likelihood is 3, severity 4 and rest 12. The recommended control measure is provide a platform for non-slip walking on concrete. Moreover, vibrator and operator and the hazard is noise from operating machine. The effect from the hazard is hearing damage and continuous noise for long period. The existing risk control is full PPA compliance and toolbox training. For the risk analysis, likelihood is 4, severity 4 and risk 16. The recommended control measure is wear earplug and leather hand glove alternating worker duties and wear mask referred to MSDS. Lastly, sealing concrete. The hazard is spray sealing compound. The effect from the hazard is skin rash or allergic. The existing risk control is full PPE compliance and toolbox training. For the risk analysis, likelihood is 3, severity 4 and risk 12. The recommended control measure is wear appropriate clothing and supervision. That's all.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAMSUR AIMAN. This is show for highlight table for the finishing work. Okay, number one, Mokhtar mixing work. The hazard is exposed to contact or splash by wet cement mixture, which can cause sustained eye injury, dermatitis. Risk control, we can use full PPE and toolbox training. The risk is medium, which is number 16. Okay, second, tiling work. The hazard is cutting blade, which can cause first aid type injury. The risk control is safe work practice. Also medium type of risk, which number 12. Next, we have ceiling work. The hazard type is defective platform fall, which can cause head injury and fatal. The risk control is safety helmet and housekeeping. This is the very high risk, which number 20. Next, plastering work. The hazard type is erect working platform with undergrounded floor, which can cause by fall from height or fatal. The existing risk control is safety belt. This is also the high risk hazard. Finally, the painting work. The hazard type is exposed to inhalation of chemical vaporized vapor or fume, which can cause may sustain respiratory problem. The existing risk control, we can use full PPE completion and toolbox training. This is a medium type of hazard, which have 12 number. That's all.
I will explain about discussion from highlight table. For safety hazard, they are most critical where it's exposing to moving and danger part of machinery when lifting concrete and crane and moving load with a risk 20, which is classified into high risk. This will affect such as permanent bone, fracture and death. Therefore, protection is important to protect worker from unnecessary and prevent injury. Machine operators should be certified and whistle as a warning signal for worker aware the moving load. For the most critical hard hazard is exposing to flash by wet cement mixture. This risk injury depend on the situation and duration. The harm sustained in Kali that can be permanent, pre-meet the skin and can damage lung and allergic. Precaution is wearing the personal protection equipment such as glove, long sleeve and high waterproof shoes. In conclusion, the first step is to identify the analysis hazard. Hazard identify and risk assessment can be used to set priority until the most dangerous situation are known.